When my wife and I bought this old fixer-upper, the living room was dark, dingy, and dated. And the previous owner said they never actually spent time in this room because it felt uninviting and they didn't really know what to do with the space. Well, my wife loves a good design challenge, and she's been on a multi-year mission to transform this living room into the space it was truly meant to be. In phase 1, Andrea started by removing the old mantle and then adding new floors and a fresh coat of paint to the walls and ceiling. Then Andrea furnished the room using budget items that we bought locally or even items we already had on hand, like this custom beautiful coffee table that she built herself for our last house. So after phase 1 of the makeover was complete, the living room was looking immensely improved, but Andrea was far from finished with this space. In phase 2 of this makeover, Andrea endeavored to design and build a gorgeous custom fireplace. This was no small undertaking, but it totally changed the feel of this large room and somehow made this living room feel cozy. Then, a while later, Andrea was ready to tackle the next phase of this living room, which was building lots of custom furniture to fit the scale of this space. She started by making a custom white oak coffee table, which looks like something out of a magazine. After that, we did some hunting in Round Top, Texas to find this piece, which of course Andrea customized to fit our living room. She then finished off that side of the room with a massive, budget-friendly custom mirror, which again she made. After that, Andrea undertook her biggest furniture project to date and built this beautiful custom bookcase that is probably going to be a family heirloom for years to come. And then after so much building, she finally gave in and bought some new furniture that fit the scale of this living room. And that leads us to where we are today. Andrea's been staring at this blank wall and getting a look in her eye that I've seen many times. It's the look that says, I'm about to build something. May I please have the debit card? So join us for the adventure as Andrea embarks on a new mission to build an entirely custom seating area for our living room. But little do we know that while we're working on this living room project, this old house will strike again and lead to absolute chaos. I just remodeled this room. I'm sorry about that. So join us for the adventures of my DIY wife and her non-handy husband and find out how this wild story unfolds.
We're back!
Yeah, baby. New day, new project. It's been a while, huh?
Yeah, we took a break at the beginning of the new year, and then you have been working on launching your mentorship program.
Whoa! And if you're interested in starting a YouTube channel, then be sure to sign up for my free newsletter where I share tips and advice on how to create a thriving YouTube channel. The newsletter is free. Just click the link in the description below and use my 8 years of YouTube experience to your advantage.
But I used that time to just plan for the projects for at least the first half of the year, and I am super excited about what we have coming up.
But where are we headed right now? That's the question.
Where else? Where do we go at the start of every project?
Let's do it!
A Lowe's trip, a Lowe's trip. Every single day it's a Lowe's trip.
Hey, go in one of the long pro spots. Yes! Just kidding. We wouldn't really take up a trailer spot. We'll just find our own pro spot right here.
The first stop in Lowe's was the plywood section, and there ended up being quite a few boards with water damage, and so we had to do some digging.
After getting the plywood, it was time to hop on over to the saw. Do you know anybody that can run the saw?
Yeah, I got you.
I got it.
This definitely took quite a bit of time, but was still faster than me trying to make all of these cuts at home with my circular saw, plus we needed to cut them down to fit them into the minivan.
And as you might expect, Andrea got a little bit sidetracked in Lowe's. Wait, what are these for?
For one of our upcoming projects.
Oh, okay. You've been distracted again.
I am. I've looked at stuff for 2 other projects while we're here.
But eventually we were back on track and getting supplies for the current project.
Give it to them. Give the people what they want to see.
Next, I made a stop in the paint section to get supplies to stain the piece. Finally, after I had all of the supplies we needed, we were ready to check out and load everything up into the van.
All right, buddy, we need you, man. We need you. Transformers, go. Truck ready. Ow, splinter. Just a wee little splinter, no big deal. All right, don't fail me now, buddy. I always knew you could do it, buddy. So I've been working on a new theory, a formula, you could say. And here it is. Andrea plus raw wood materials equals awesome things. What happened here? Round 2. Yeah, success. Andrea's hip's been bothering her, so this is going to be a solo mission. What are you looking at? Well, that was loud. I do need to turn this truck back into a minivan so we can pick up our kids here in a little bit.
Really quick, we want to say thanks to Caden Lane for sponsoring today's video. Caden Lane was started in 2005 by a single mom who wanted to create better and cuter clothes, accessories, and keepsakes for her own kids and for those special moments you want to remember forever. Since all of their clothes are designed by moms, you know that they're going to be designed in a way that just makes sense and makes moms' lives easier with all of the zippers and snaps in the right places. If you've heard of Caden Lane and you're wondering if it's worth all of the hype, it absolutely is. They have over 70,000 five-star reviews and millions of customers for a reason. Plus, I love that it's run by moms and based out of the Texas Hill Country. Our youngest is obsessed with their Color Me pajama sets, and I love that they are made out of super stretchy bamboo, so they're gonna fit him for a long time, and I know that he's gonna get a ton of use out of these. I'm a little bit sad that we don't have babies and toddlers anymore, but I do have a little nephew that is due in a few months, and I was so excited to pick out a little outfit for him, and how cute. I'm like, can you see the texture? This is their waffle knit set. It comes with a little hat, it's the little tie gown, and it is so soft. I would love to have this in my own size. I'm obsessed with all of the different color options they had online. It took me so long to pick because there really were just so many good options and so many great textures and different kinds of fabric as well. Plus, I really cannot get over just how soft these are. Caden Lane really is a one-stop shop for all of your newborn, infant, and toddler apparel. You can head to cadenlane.com/DIYwife and use code DIYwife for 20% off your order. Once again, that is CADENLANE.com/DIYwife for 20% off, and make sure you use code DIYwife so they know that I sent you.
And after everything was unloaded, Andrea was ready to get to work. Hey, you're undoing my work.
Yeah. I just need a little bit of space up here. I gotta figure out which boards I'm cutting first. I have like loose plans.
Okay.
I'll say I have measurements of my finished piece, but there's parts of it that I'm kind of figuring out as I go along. All right, we've got a lot of our main cuts cut, but I do need to cut down the width or the length. So first I have my two pieces that are going to be the top of my bench, and the whole bench is going to be an L shaped, but basically I'm going to have two pieces that are about 4 feet that are going to meet like this, and so I'm going to cut those first, because then once I have those, I feel like that'll help me figure out the rest of my measurements, because like I said, I'm kind of figuring some of this out as I go.
That's kind of a ninja move you did with that board there.
Was it?
Yeah.
so I cut what will be the top of my bench seat, and one is an inch shorter than the other, so if you notice that, it's supposed to be that way. That's just the measurements that I picked for our space, because I did it really specific to how I want it to fit in the corner of our living room. Next, I'm gonna focus on cutting these panels that are the bottom sides of the bench, and we had them cut these differently because I really wanted my wood grain to go up instead of sideways. So I made it a little bit more complicated. And I do want to point out that I don't normally have them do cross grain cuts on the saw at Lowe's and Home Depot, just because it's a lot messier. But I knew that this was going to be the back of the piece and it didn't matter. So as you can see, it's really torn up on here, but this will be the inside of my bench. And I made sure that the front nicer piece of the plywood was facing whichever way that didn't get torn up. But this one looks good. So now I got to figure out what measurements I'm cutting these to, because I don't know yet. Now, before I make any more cuts, I'm trying to figure out how much of an overhang I want my seat to have on those little side panels so I can cut those. But here I'm just kind of holding it together. I've got my bench top. This will be like the front panel. And then I bought this piece in case I want something kind of fancy there. I'm still deciding.
Don't ask me.
Oh wait, but that's not gonna go all the way to that. Hold on, let me think for a second. That'll actually be my brain. The L shape is making my brain hurt. I feel like I'm being watched. It's making hard to think.
Is it?
Yeah, it really is.
I will just comment from afar that she is
Stop it.
working really hard.
I can't pause. I got the number in my head.
Oh, jacket's coming off.
Ugh, it's getting hot. Okay, next I'm gonna go ahead and sand these pieces, because I've just found that for some builds, it's easier to sand things before you assemble them together, especially like these long, just big sheets of plywood. So I'm gonna do that. So this is going to be like the shape and size of my bench. These are my bench tops. Now I wanted to get these set out so that I can measure to cut my long piece that'll be the back of my bench, and then the piece that goes here too. But then I have to also account for like where they meet, and I want to leave a little bit of space on the edge because I'm actually going to do like a 1x4 kind of cool piece that I cut at an angle that'll go on both of the ends. Oh, just kidding, it's not broken.
Babe.
This is real life, don't edit this out. That happens so many times.
There we go, we're in business.
Heavy.
And at this point in the process, you once again realize that Andrea's on her way to creating some sort of masterpiece. And she's doing it from the fancy confines of, well, our driveway.
All right, next I'm going to put edge banding on the edges that I know are going to be exposed. I love using this for plywood just because it gives it the look of like a solid piece of wood. I feel like I'm kind of doing things a little bit out of order, so I should explain why, because normally I would like build it completely, then add the edge banding, but I want to stain it before I assemble it because I'm using a water-based stain, and on these large sheets it's easiest if I can do them while they're like just single by themselves, so I can like completely wipe it off super fast, super even. So, doing things a little bit out of order. I'm gonna do the edge banding next, and then we're gonna stain it before we even put it together. All right, I have all of the edge banding on. I didn't need it on my backrest pieces because I'm gonna cap those off with 1x2 and 1x4s, but I have all the edge banding on these, and I'm gonna go ahead and lightly sand it. It just helps get any of the rough edges off. You just don't want snags and stuff like that on your furniture, but that way, you know, if I chip some of it now, I can go ahead and redo it. Got everything all sanded, and I'm gonna go ahead and add pocket holes, and then we will stain after that. I personally think pocket holes are one of the easiest ways to join wood together, and for this bench, all of these pocket holes will be on the inside, so of course you won't be able to see them. Finished all the pocket holes and all my plywood pieces, so I'm ready to go ahead and lay my pieces out and stain it. If you've been with us for a little while, this is the same stain that I used on the massive glass door cabinet that we have in our dining room. I just really like the way this looked on red oak. It takes the redness out, but it gave me like the rich medium to dark brown tone that I wanted, and so I have plenty of extra of this, so this is what I'm using, and it's Valspar's semi-transparent waterproof exterior stain in the color Mixed Nuts.
Delicious.
I went ahead and laid all of my boards out on the work table so that I could get everything stained quickly and efficiently. When we built the large glass door cabinet last year, I learned that the easiest way to apply this stain is with some sort of stain pad so that I can wipe it quickly and evenly in the direction of the wood grain. And I'll just make a note here, I don't personally love the way that the grain of red oak looks when stained with a darker stain, and so that's why I went this route with the water-based stain, which gives it a more even, uniform look.
And if you've ever wondered what I do during these projects, well, I try and capture this process in a way that matches the beauty that Andrea displays in her projects. Water break time?
Lunch break time.
Oh, even better. And this is where things started to go off the rails. We noticed a small water leak in one of our old pipes, and we were hoping that it was no big deal, but it turns out it was actually a really big deal, as there were signs of moisture under the floors in multiple rooms, including the office, which we just finished making over.
I'm kind of concerned about this like built-in cabinet right here.
That cabinet he's talking about is the one that Andrea just spent a ton of time refinishing. So what was the final verdict? Well, we were gonna have to tear out a lot of flooring, some of the paneling in the hallway and bathroom area, and try and do normal life with some really, really loud fans on for the next week or two.
So what do you think? You look so excited.
It's so loud. How am I supposed to live?
So you'll just have to stay tuned as this adventure will unfold in a future video. But finally, after a big delay, we were ready to get back to that lunch break.
Yes!
This looks very healthy.
Hey, it's yummy too.
Bon appetit! Welcome to Dean's greatest smoothie recipes in the world. You start with one frozen banana. It must be frozen. Enter 1 scoop of chocolate protein powder or 1 scoop of caramel or a half scoop of each. Dang it, forgot the milk. Add some milk and 1 generous scoop of peanut butter, just like a dookie. Last but not least, a half cup of ice. Must pour from an elevated position and blend away. Finally, pour it into a clear glass so you can look at it. Is it a Wendy's Frosty? No, it's a healthy chocolate protein smoothie. And boy, is it delicious.
All right, now that our stain is all the way dry, I'm ready to start the initial phase of assembly. I will have more supports parts that I need to build that go on the inside of it, but I think the easiest way for me to figure this out is to start assembling it now and then build my supports as I'm assembling it.
How about these songbirds? Are you kidding me? Why, thank you. That was lovely.
Step 1 in the assembly process was to attach my bench tops together using wood glue and pocket holes.
So what's with the finger painting method here?
This is like clogged and I can't get it unclogged.
Get out of here.
Next, I started attaching the front bottom panels again using wood glue and pocket holes. This part of the build went incredibly fast since I didn't need it to be pretty, I just needed it to be sturdy.
Okay, guys, can we take a chill pill? Goodness gracious. Nice.
All right, so if you can't tell, this is the bench. It's upside down, and so now you can kind of see what I mean when I say it needs more support, obviously, because 3/4 inch plywood is plenty support for all of my front edges here, but I'm going to make some little kind of just boxes out of 2x4s to attach there and there, so I've got just really good support on the whole thing. Building my 2x4 supports, I grabbed Dean's help to flip the bench over and set it on the ground so I could attach my new 2x4 boxes to the bench top. Next, I was ready to attach the back of the bench, and it was starting to get really exciting seeing this come together. All right. It's hard for me to not keep pausing and staring at it, but I have a few more things to finish it off. First, I have these 1x4s that are going to go on my 2 end pieces, but I want to draw a kind of diagonal line on here that I'll cut with my jigsaw just because I think it'll look cool. So first I'll need to cut a little bit off the top of these on the miter saw, then I'm going to draw my line so I can cut it with a jigsaw. That's not bad. I need to sand it and clean it up, obviously, but I'm happy with that. Once I confirmed I was pleased with the way my first piece turned out, I used it as a template to create the second one. Once I finished my side pieces, I was ready to cut some 1x2s to finish off the top of the bench.
I think this piece over here is a little long, maybe.
Yeah, let's fix that. All right, so I've put together my 1x2s that are gonna go on the back of the bench, but I've decided I wanna use my router to just add slight curved edge. And so I've got my, I don't know what you call it, like a round bit. It's just shaped like this in there, but I have learned from experience that I always like to test my router on a scrap piece just in case like it shifts, because I've had that happen. Sometimes it's user error because I don't use it all the time, but I just wanna make sure I've got it set up right before I start on these boards because I don't want to mess those up, but I'm gonna try it out on the scrap piece first.
You like it?
I do. Here it goes on the real piece. This routing detail really isn't necessary, but I feel like it just adds that extra something that really elevates the look of the piece. I also decided that I want to round just this front edge of this piece. I just feel like it'll give it a more finished look, and just practically, these are pieces that are going to be like by our backs and our heads, and I think it'll be nice if they're not super sharp. All right, it's the next day and we're ready to get this thing inside. There is a slight chance of rain, so we're gonna go ahead and move it now, but I measured the height because I was looking at it and thinking that looks a little bit too tall to fit through our doorways, and it is. So I'm gonna quickly pull this off. Thankfully, that's super easy to do. It's just gonna make it a lot easier. Brought everything inside, I was ready to reattach the back of the bench and move the bench into place. I'm not even quite finished with this piece yet, but it was so exciting to see what was in my head for so long finally start to happen in real life. All right, next we need to do a quick sanding on all of these little trim pieces that we fixed up yesterday, and then we'll stain them. We'll let that dry so we can install the blender.
Nice work, Dusty girl.
Alright, I finished sanding and I'm ready to start staining.
This stuff is the definition of Hershey's chocolate sauce.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? Applying this stain outside on a sunny day meant I needed to work really fast so it didn't start drying and give me streaks.
Yeah, it's great. Anything looks good when you put chocolate on it, you know?
I like chocolate. So I have an exciting discovery here that I wanted to share with y'all because a few of you guys actually taught me this, but in our laundry room series, I had to nail a 1x2 onto a piece of plywood and my nails kept shooting out and it was so frustrating. What the heck? I think it was partly because my 1x2 is red oak, which is really, really hard. And then if you have where your grain curves at all like this, your nail's gonna follow that. But what they said to do was to turn my gun, instead of going like this, to turn it 90 degrees, like perpendicular to the piece. And I looked it up online and that's true, and it works. I'm gonna see if I can get one to shoot out the sides. This one shot out on this side, can you see it? But if I turn my gun this way and do a whole bunch, none of them come out.
All right, let's see it.
I'm gonna do more. Have any come out yet?
Okay, that's enough.
Ah, yes!
Nice.
Look at this! I wasn't even like perfectly aiming for the middle. This is so exciting, guys. Thank you to the like 2 people that suggested that. All right, well, I was doing my little experiment there. The stain has dried, at least to the touch. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this inside and nail it in place with my newfound technique where I'm not gonna have nails shooting out of my finished piece because I probably would cry if that happened. Oh man, it's getting fancy. This looks... I'm ready to make the cushion. Where's my nailer? I'm gonna get my nail gun. No splitting out. I went really close to the edge and it still did not shoot out the back. Not a single one.
Are you pleased with your work?
Yes.
Good work this week, baby doll. Awesome. And for 1 week of hard work, I would say this bench is looking amazing so far. Man, how amazing does this bench look? And this is only week 1. We're not even finished with it, but it's already looking like a piece of art.
Yeah, I am so pleased with the amount of progress we were able to make this week. I mean, we got the entire bench built, which I was hoping for, but usually I'm a little bit ambitious in what I think I can do in a week. And so this is really exciting for me. And like I said earlier, it is so exciting to see something that was in my head for so long while I was dreaming and planning this actually start to happen and be there in our living room.
So you'll definitely want to join us next week as we finish off this bench and the whole space around it. Things get really good and you're not going to want to miss it. So we'll catch you in the next episode. Where are you going?
Get a pencil.
I keep on waiting for my wife to come. Wait, who do we have here?
What? Whoa. What's not supposed to happen? I love it. Not like I love you, but it's close. I really like the bench a lot.
Okay, so
Don't cry, babe. I love you more than the bench.
I just feel like maybe.
Okay, does that hurt your heart?
It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm a big boy. Yeah.
You're a big boy.
Did you do a lot of painting in high school?
A little bit.
You seem to like painting. Were you the teacher's pet in art class? Let's be honest.
Absolutely. That was my favorite class.
Hey, do you know what class I thrived in?
I can't think of one.
Lunch.
I was like, not study hall. Like, whoa.
I'm just kidding. I actually quite liked creative writing in English.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you.
I also liked music a lot.
Yeah, you did. I knew that.
And I also liked Andrea a lot. High school sweethearts.